Hey there guys, Coach Brandon here. Today we're going to be going through our July Week 2 curriculum, which is going to be lapel single legs. Last week we went over a wrestling sweep series where we could circle in front with a circular finish. We could drive straight across with a linear double leg, getting the inside knee grip or controlling the ankle and the knee. And then we saw circling behind our opponent for our rear double. This week's lessons are an extension of wrestling sweeps, a very specialized form of wrestling sweeps called lapel single legs, where we take our opponent's lapel and we pass it underneath their leg. Once we have the lapel underneath their leg and gripped, it's so hard to sprawl away from that grip. Furthermore, we can reinforce this by gripping the inside of the knee on the far leg. So I've reinforced my grips on both the near leg and the far leg using the gi. So as my opponent tries to sprawl back and away with those grips, it's so hard. Compared to no gi grips, where I simply reach around the back of the knees with my hands. If I have an opponent who sprawls away from no gi grips, quite often their sprawl will overpower me and I'll lose the legs. But when we have the lapel or the inside knee grip and they go to sprawl away, it is so hard to get away from those grips. You own those legs. So we're going to look at a series of 5 different attacks today for lapel single leg sweeps. We're going to look at a lapel, I guess it'd be a lapel double leg really, because I also have the far leg with the inside knee grip. We're going to look at a lapel double leg with the knee down. We're going to look at a lapel double leg when our opponent stands up. Then we're going to look at some options with a lapel single leg. First, we're going to see if my opponent gets free from my inside knee grip and I'm left with just the near single leg with the lapel. We can go back to our circular finish that we looked at last week. We can go back to our rear double leg that we looked at last week. And then our 5th technique that I'm going to show is I lose my outside hook as well. So I lose the far leg and I lose my outside hook. All I have left is just that lapel single, and we're going to finish with a cutback for our 5th technique. So again, lapel double knee down, lapel double standing, lapel single circular finish, lapel single to a rear double leg, and then a lapel single to a cutback finish. Let's get into it. So in a situation, however I happen to get there, I come up in my good sweeping grips right here. Now from here, I'm going to go down to my shoulder. I'm going to take my opponent's gi, the tail of the lapel right here, the cross lapel. This could be either tucked into the belt like it is now, or I could look to untuck it from the belt. Now from here, my left hand is going to go down below Adam's hips, and I'm going to feed the lapel to my left hand. Let's rotate it, show the hips to the camera. Right here. So from here, if I keep my hand up here and I try to grab the lapel, I can't often reach. So bring your elbow down below as well. Bring your entire arm down below. Remember, that takes power off of his whizzer. So I come down low, I grab the lapel just like so, underneath. Okay, let's rotate. So I have Adam's lapel fed through the legs, and I'm gripping it right here. That's our lapel single. So now from this position, just a little bit this way now. Perfect. From this position, I'm underneath. Oftentimes your opponent will take this leg out and away, and I want to try to grab that knee. If I can grab it, awesome. Just like this. Like 4 fingers in, make a flap, grip. If it's too far away, and I can't grab it, I'm going to use my lapel single leg to start pulling him toward me. Here. Now I can get the grip. Now from here, I'm going to use a double leg pendulum to get up to my base. Because I have this grip with my right hand, I can't prop to come up. I don't have this option. So I'm here. I'm going to take him in this direction. Now a double leg pendulum, going belly down, and I come up to my knees. Now from here, I'm just going to pull the knee in. And now we have our sweep, and we can start to climb up the body like we did last week. So that's our first technique when the knee stays down. Our second technique. Oftentimes you're going to have opponents who, when you start to get the better of them from bottom half guard, they try to stand up. So when I start winning the grip fight in half guard, your opponents may try to stand to get back and away from your half guard. So we get into our good grip here. I feed my lapel. I get my grip on the knee. I'm going to do my double leg pendulum. We come up to this position. He's trying to run away. Now with this grip, as I come up, even with poor posture, if Adam tries to sprawl his two legs away from me, he can sprawl back as hard as he can. All I'm going to do is pull the knees in as I walk forward. And pull them in. So what's happening, stand back up. You're not necessarily going to be able to pull the legs in, but when I pull, I'm going to hold his legs right where they are. So when he tries to pull his legs further away, he can't. And then I'm just going to walk forward. And my head and shoulders are going to push him over, and he won't be able to walk backwards to accommodate. And he falls. So that's our lapel double leg when my opponent stands. Now we're going to go through lapel single legs, where maybe as I was getting up to my base, I lost the grip on the far knee. Now we're going to use our lapel single combined with our outside hook to go into a circular finish going forward. We looked at this last week. I get into this position, I go in and I take my lapel single right here. Now from here, I get the grip. I'm going to start to pull in one direction, he bases, so I'm going to do a double leg pendulum to get up, but maybe I lost the grip while I was getting up. If I lost my outside hook, no worry. I can simply step my left leg back over and reclaim my outside hook very easy. Let's come this way a little bit. Here we go. Whizzer back in. So I've reclaimed my outside hook and I have the lapel single. Now just like last week, I'm going to begin to circle toward my right, and my outside hook is going to pull Adam's knee into an unnatural position as I drive him down for our circular finish. Then we cover the knee, climbing up the body just like we did last week. We also have a rear double option, where maybe my opponent has so much pressure on me and it's difficult for me to circle forward, it's difficult for me to drive across and get to the far leg, where I can go into a rear double. So I'm in here, I hit my double leg pendulum, I'm up and I have my outside hook. Now from this position, if the knee's down on the mat, I'm just going to grab the knee. So that leg's posted and that's going to be hard to get to. So we're going to go to a rear double. The circular single leg would be another option, but we're going to show the rear double now. I'm going to take my two hands, I'm going to let go of the lapel, put both my hands right on the mat next to his knee. Okay, let's rotate. Tap. Just like so. I'm going to begin to bring my chest over my hands here, and I'm going to go into a tripod, an angled tripod, where my left shoulder is lower than my right, and I begin to circle around. Let's come this way just a tad. So right now you see Adam's left knee is up off the mat, but when I go up into my angled tripod and I circle around, that knee starts to get driven forward and down. My right hand controls the near knee, my left hand goes and grabs the far knee as I continue to drive. And I put him down with a rear double leg. Okay, so we've seen 4 attacks so far. We have 1 more to go through. We've seen a lapel double leg with the knee down. We've seen a lapel double leg when my opponent stands. Then the next 2 techniques were lapel single legs, where I lose the far knee grip. So I have my lapel single. We have a circular finish. Circular single leg, where I'm using my outside hook to drag Adam's leg out into a bent, unnatural position. And we have rear doubles, where I begin to circle behind using an angled tripod so that my shoulder drives his hips forward. So he goes from this position here to this position here. And then we can finish a rear double leg. We have one more technique that we're going to look at where not only do I lose the far knee, but I also lose the outside hook. And we're going to call this a cutback single leg. This is going to involve shearing forces on my opponent where my lapel single leg cuts his leg out in one direction, and my head and the far hip forces his upper body in the other direction. So we have these two shearing forces, lower body going one way, upper body going the other. So I get into my good half guard position here. I'm going to go down underneath, taking my lapel single, making my outside hook. I'm going to go for my first pull. If he doesn't base, just take him over with a roll through sweep. If he keeps his whizzer in, just take him all the way over. If he bases, I'm going to use my double leg pendulum to come up. Now this time, maybe I lost the outside hook when I came up, or maybe his knee slides free and I lose the outside hook that way. Now if I lose the outside hook, I have two options. I can either work from here with no outside hook, like I'm going to show. Otherwise, you can always slide back in and re-hook as well. And I can go through my circular single leg finish and all that. Let's rotate this way a little bit. So if I lose, rotate one. If I lose the outside hook, I can always step back over and reclaim it and go into my finishes. So just be aware that that's an option. But let's say I don't have the outside hook, and for whatever reason I don't want to reclaim it. We're going to go to a cutback single. That is where my left knee is going to go in front of his knee, sliding across his body. So I post and I knee slide through just like so. Now as my knee slides in front of his body, I'm going to take my head toward the far hip. Now all I'm going to do is my head is going to drive into his hip, and my lapel single leg is going to pull in on his knee for a cutback finish to put him down. You can also do this standing. If I'm here and Adam stands up and he's starting to sprawl on me, I can slide my left knee in. Can you move your hand? Thank you. I can slide my left knee in. My head will go to the far hip, and I'm going to rotate to my left for a cutback finish. Once again, the idea is that we get these two shearing forces. My lapel single leg and my elbow closing to take the leg and the lower body in one direction, and my head into the far hip, driving into him to take his upper body in the other direction. So these two shearing forces are what make the cutback work. That can be done if our opponent's down on their knees or if they start to stand up. So a quick review of our 5 techniques on the lapel single series. We wrap our lapel single, and the first 2 techniques are actually a lapel double. Getting that inside knee grip. We come up, if they keep the knee down, pull it out. If they stand, we will also stand, pull in as we walk. The next 2 techniques involve losing the far knee. I just have the lapel single and my outside hook. From here, I can begin to circle using a circular finish like we looked at last week. Or I can go down into a rear double like we looked at last week. And then finally, our 5th technique was a cutback, where I've lost the far knee, I've lost my outside hook. So I have my lapel single, I slide my knee across, my head goes across the body, and I begin to drive them back with my head. And don't forget, if you ever lose your outside hook, you always have the option to step back over and reclaim the outside hook and go back to work from there. And if at any time all these wrestling sweeps are failing you for whatever reason, you can always go back to your roll through sweeps and your back takes. You know, if you go for let's say you're trying to come up for a wrestling sweep like a lapel double, and they're driving back into you really hard so you can't drive across, go back into a roll through sweep. If you go into a roll through sweep and they base with their hand, hit a duck under, coming underneath their whizzer arm, and start taking the back. So hopefully by this time in our half guard series, you understand how we use our fundamental trilemma from bottom half guard: roll through sweeps, back takes, and wrestling sweeps. And we can use all three of those attacks to keep our opponent on their toes, keep our opponent under pressure, and eventually get through to the win. And if you guys want to really invest time in wrestling sweeps, it'll be worth your time to focus on this variation of wrestling sweeps where we feed the lapel underneath. So now when my opponent tries to sprawl that leg back and away, it's well caught. All right? I hope you guys have fun studying and learning this stuff, and we'll see you next week.